It is still Sunday, and I just wrapped up my last vlog, and while I was inside working on editing those videos, I had filled up my old tanning pool, and I was just letting the sun warm it up while I was editing the video. And I come back out, and the ring is half deflated, and the water has run out. And I'm like, oh Lord have mercy. So I filled it back up thinking maybe I just didn't get it plugged all the way. The air ran out again. So I don't know what it is with any inflatable crap that I've ordered from Amazon, but it cannot seem to make it through the winter. Like, it's still in perfectly good shape, holding air, everything's working perfect. And then I am extremely careful with how I handle this stuff. I make sure that it's good and dried out, completely flat. I can roll it up and fold it down pretty small, and then I store it in a drawer in the basement over winter. And yet, for whatever reason, when summertime rolls around again and I pull it back out, it has a leak. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I decided rather than ordering another one for I think they're like $32.99 now, I just went ahead and ran over to Walmart and spent 15 bucks on a little cheapy kiddie pool. And we're gonna see how this does me because I feel like everything inexpensive. So like at Five and Below, I had bought a couple of little pool floaties to go in my old pool. I've had them. This is like the third summer I've had them. I haven't gotten them out yet to test them to see if they hold air because I don't have a pool anymore, so I haven't needed to, obviously. But they always made it through winter, and you know, $5 and they would air right up and last the whole summer. And I had like a longer little floaty that I would lay on to tan, and it was the same way. I've had it, this will be the third summer, and it has always worked. It's always held air. I've never had a problem with it leaking. But for some reason, the stuff that I buy from Amazon makes it one summer, and the next year when I get it out, it leaks. So I don't know, we'll see how this one does. All I want is something that I can lay in, because I like to tan just 10 minutes per side and then be done. Because, you know, that's enough to generate vitamin D without worrying about skin cancer, basically. But when it's hot outside, I like to have a little bit of water. So I don't even need to fill this all the way up. Just a few inches of water in the bottom is all I want. So we'll see how this one does me. But the only thing that I would say might be concerning is that it's not long enough for me to like roll over onto my back and onto my front and get my back. So we'll see how I like it. But for $15, it'll get me through at least the next couple of days with the hot weather. So. And I will decide whether I want to get another tanning pool like I had before, because I know with my experience with the like easy set pools, and I got one that was some kind of an off brand. It wasn't like the blue ones that you buy from Walmart, because I think those are an eyesore and I didn't want a blue one on my patio. I wanted one that kind of went with everything, and so I found one on Amazon that was a tan color, and that's what I bought, but it never lasted. So I don't know if I'll buy that tanning pool again. At the end of the day, like $30 for a summer is not bad. It's not expensive. Like the swimming pool was like $100 to $125 every year. So that was a little different, but anyhow, this is my solution for now. I'm gonna fill it up, let the water warm so that by tomorrow afternoon when I'm ready to use it, we're good to go. And then I'm gonna go inside and make myself some dinner, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the official start of my week vlog. So see you then. I am so gonna end up with a hole in the top ring of this pool. I thought about that when I put it out, and she is not disappointing.
Hello, little one. Was somebody getting taunted by the hummingbirds this morning, huh? You poor thing. What you doing? Check on all these tomatoes, shall we? Ooh, the brandywines are looking good. They're getting tall. And then that's the one that I planted yesterday. It would have been in the last video that you saw. And it's starting to upright itself. So we're looking good. Uh-oh, what happened to my early girl? It's like laying over on its side. I'm going to hop in there and check it out. Looks like it might be time to run the string across to help hold it up. It's flopping over. Probably got blasted by the sprinkler that's right here. The others are still looking good though. But that might be a task for sometime this week, whether today, because today I know I'll be busy cooking, but maybe tomorrow. I need to go ahead and run the string across these bamboo poles and make the trellis for these tomatoes. You also need to come out and add the little extender for these sprinklers, because now all these plants are getting up tall enough that they definitely need a little help getting the water to reach. I'm trying to see all the beans. I need to come back and cut some of this black-seeded Simpson. I see some beans coming through. This one actually. Let's see if we can poke it back through there before a critter gets a hold of it. I'm curious to see how many have come up in there that I just can't see. We have some more chard that needs to be picked. And then we definitely have some daikon radish that are ready to be pulled. I'm going to make some kimchi, probably today, maybe tomorrow, just depends. And so I do need to use daikon radish. However, I want to save some of these, like I'm letting them flower because I want to actually save some seeds so that I can not have to buy any seeds next year. So we'll see how that works out, but that is the plan for this year. And I'm doing the same in here with the romaine lettuce, and we are there. It has all started to flower, and now we have those little puffs. So we should have some seeds to harvest very soon from those plants. And then the corn is shooting up pretty well. And then I think those are the bib lettuce, and then a couple of romaines back there. So I've got plenty of greens this week. All right, I need to get clocked into work. I'm actually like right at the time now, but I pulled up the recipe for the falafel and I was like, crap, I'm supposed to use dried chickpeas. Like all of the recipes said to use dried chickpeas, and I know they're going to have to soak and I don't know for how long. So I pulled it up and I looked the day before. So 24 hours, which means I can't make the falafel until tomorrow. So I will actually be doing that on Tuesday this week instead of Monday. But that is okay because I still have some stuff left in the fridge, so I don't have to worry about cooking anything either way. But I will be back here tomorrow to go ahead and get the falafel made. But for now, I've just got the chickpeas in to soak. So I guess we've done step one. But for that part, I will see you back here tomorrow. But for the rest, we'll see what happens today. Well, things are not looking good for disease because this is my brandy wine. This is in the backyard, and this one I can't just pull up and replace because it's gotten too big. So I'm gonna pop all of these off that are diseased. I'm gonna spray the crap out of it with some copper fungicide and hope that it doesn't continue to spread through other things in the garden. 'Cause I don't wanna do this again this year. But they do say that once it gets started, it's very difficult to get rid of it. And even after eliminating all of the soil and bleaching all of my concrete blocks and everything last summer, doesn't necessarily mean a thing. Oh, this one too. So some of these lower limbs I'm just gonna pop off. And then others I'm just gonna take off leaves. Let's see, I don't want to touch any that haven't shown signs of disease yet. That one's got just a little bit. Okay, so far I haven't seen anything out of those, but I'm gonna go get the copper fungicide and give these a good spray.
So before I hop back into work, I am going to go ahead and get this cabbage prepped because I'm going to work on that kimchi this evening. And the cabbage needs to be tossed with salt and then left to sit for a couple of hours. So I'm going to go ahead and get that taken care of. I've got my big bowl back here. I've got my recipe. Let's see, how much salt did it say that I needed? Oh, where's the salt? 9 tablespoons. Okay. I probably do need to discard just a little bit of this because it needs 3 pounds and I picked up a 4-pound cabbage. So I'll probably use that in something else this evening because I do also have some peas from the garden that I need to use. So I will work this into my dinner. I'll probably make a noodle bowl of some sort and use some of the extra Napa cabbage for that. So while I'm on here, if you are a subscriber and you have been following along with my videos, you might have noticed that in the last couple of videos, my music has changed, the volume in particular. And oh gosh, I had everything down perfect. I had finally figured out the mic volume and the audio and the music and everything, and I had it just right. But then I got a copyright claim the other week, and it's not the first time it's happened, but it is the first time in a few months. It did happen, I don't know, probably somewhere around the first of the year. And I've had it happen before on Instagram and on Facebook, and I have disputed both of those, and I won those disputes, and they released the claim, and everything was good to go. But with YouTube, for whatever reason, they basically say we're staying out of it. It's between you and the company. And so there's really no support from YouTube. And when I disputed it back in January, I told this company, hey, look, like, you sold the rights to this music to a video editing app, which I paid to use. Therefore, I am paying for your music, which you gave them the right to let me use. But they denied it. They would not release that copyright claim. So now, I just decided, I just won't use that song again. And a few months have gone by, and now I don't know, it was about 2 weeks ago, the video, I think it was the one with like the plant-based cooking and meal planning was the title of it. And there were not just one song, but 5 songs that they hit with a copyright claim. And so I think they have like a software that kind of can keep an eye out for their music. Like it'll have a hit and then they'll decide whether they want to put a claim out on it. Pretty sure that's how that works. And so they found 5 of the songs on there that they decided to make a copyright claim on. And I started to go out and dispute it, but I was like, you have to dispute each song individually. And I was like, okay, I'm not even going to waste my time because they're just going to deny it. I mean, YouTube is not going to step in. They're not going to do anything about it. And so essentially it's up to the company's discretion, and they have no incentive to release their copyright claim because if I ever become monetized, which may actually happen in the not too distant future, they can get monetization off of that because I'm using their music, which would be fine if I was pirating their music, but I'm not. I pay $5 a week or, $20 to $25 a month, depending on how the weeks fall in the month, to use this app. And one of the big reasons why I chose this particular app, I use Splice. The reason that I chose it and that I'm okay with paying the money for it, even though I'm not actually getting paid to do YouTube, so at this point it's just a hobby, is because they had a good music library. Like I checked many of the other apps and their music libraries were terrible. And this one was excellent. So I'm paying $20 to $25 a month to be able to use this music. And now the owners of this music who have sold the rights to this app that I am paying to use are able to put copyright claims on and, potentially take money away from me once I am monetized. So since YouTube is useless in helping with this stuff, I decided that I'm going to have to do what so many of them do and try to make the music undetectable. And one of the ways to do that is when your original audio is loud enough and the music is quiet enough where they're kind of on equal footing, the music is not as detectable. And so that's what I was essentially trying to do. And unfortunately, with this app, whenever you do the audio, it sounds different in the app than it does when you're finished with it. So it all sounded perfect whenever I was editing. And so I exported it and uploaded it to YouTube, and then that was it. I never did a playback. And now for the second week in a row, I've done the same thing. And I was like, I probably need to like pull this up on the TV and watch it. I haven't played one back in a while. And so I did. And the music was barely detectable. It was so quiet you could barely hear it. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go again. Now I have to figure this out all over again. So this video hopefully will be better because I'm going to make sure that once I upload it to YouTube, I'm going to play it back before I delete any of the files, and fix it if I need to. But that is what I'm trying to do, and that is the reason why, because unfortunately, even when you're paying for music, they still like to be jerks about it. So anyway, I'm going to get the salt in this, toss it, get back to work, and I will catch up with you this evening whenever I'm ready to put the kimchi together. All right, I have everything mixed up, and so now I just need to put it in some jars and make sure it's good and airtight and sealed up, and then we're going to let it ferment. And so to ferment it, we'll just basically leave it sit out on the counter at room temperature for a couple of days, and that's all there is to it. It does need to be very, very well packed. So I got out my little mortar pestle. Which one's the pestle and which one's the mortar, I don't know, but to make sure that I can push it down in there pretty well. It looks like this one is topped off. So on with the lid. I have a mess to clean up now. That's kind of the downfall, is it did make a heck of a lot of dishes. But I have the dishwasher running right now, so it's probably just going to wait till morning. Okay, let's see exactly how many days it says for that to ferment. Oh, you just have to reload, don't you? Okay. Room temperature for 1 to 2 days, depending on the warmth of your kitchen, until the kimchi smells and tastes sour. So maybe by Wednesday evening, I'll have to give it a try, and then after that, it can go into the refrigerator. By the end of the vlog, I should be able to try it and then report back on how it turns out, whether I like it, whether I'm going to do it again. So stay tuned and we'll see what happens. Well, these babies are flying too. I pulled the basket down to water and 3 of the 4 flew away. This one, I don't know if maybe it's just scared or it's definitely alive because I see it breathing, but it did not go anywhere. But I'm gonna go ahead and give this basket of water and put it back up. But looks like both baskets are officially up and flying. All right, now that I have all of the stuff in here, I really need to start reading the entire recipe before I even start on this stuff, because I get down to like step 5 and it says to refrigerate it for 45 to 60 minutes before actually blending it. So you put everything in the food processor bowl and then put it in the fridge. So much for getting this done on my lunch break, but this is turning into like a 2-day long process between the soaking the chickpeas for 24 hours and the refrigerating it for an hour. So I don't know if I'll use this recipe again, but anyway, I'll catch back up with you whenever I'm actually ready to finish this. All right, ready to get these in the air fryer. Now, the recipe says to spray with oil, and I am oil free, so I put the parchment paper in there. Air fryers work perfectly fine with parchment paper. I've done it many, many times, so that is what we're going to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and form these into balls. It says to use an ice cream scooper. I don't have one, so I'm just going to do it by hand. And I'll go ahead and share the couple of modifications that I did make. So I personally don't like the flavor of parsley. So I eliminated that because it called for a whole cup of parsley and then a half cup of cilantro. So I eliminated the parsley and I put probably a good cup of cilantro, if not more. And then I also added some turmeric to this. It doesn't really do much to the flavor. It gives it a little bit of a yellowy color, but mostly it's just because turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory and I like to add it in anywhere that I can. And I thought this was a good place to do it. So I don't think I did any other modifications. If I did, I will add it on the screen here, but this should be it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all these balls formed and get them into the air fryer. And I think when I'm done, because I did have a salad for lunch today, so when I'm done, I think I will go ahead and do these in the pita pocket and put together like a little tahini sauce to drizzle over it. It says to set the timer to 15 minutes, but I'm going to start with 10 because in my experience, stuff gets done pretty quickly in this air fryer. So I'd rather make sure I don't burn it. So. All right, while the second batch cooks, I'm going to go ahead and give this a little taste test. 10 minutes plus the preheat time was perfect. I mean, they're all nice and golden brown, so looks like that did it. And let's see what they taste like. Tastes like a falafel. Honestly, I think it could use a little bit more salt, but I'll make up for that whenever I put it together in either the salad or the pita pocket. Because I'll mix together some tahini, lemon juice, a little bit of plant milk, some cumin, salt, and drizzle it over top. It'll be just right. I have just enough tahini left in here to make a tahini sauce, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and mix it in here rather than dirtying up another dish. A little cumin and garlic powder. Now, if you like cucumbers, traditionally cucumbers would go in here with the tahini sauce, or you would use tzatziki sauce, which is made from cucumbers. But I do not like cucumbers. I do like pickles, or pickled cucumbers, like where you just soak them in vinegar and water. But raw cucumber, I do not like at all. And actually, now that I think about it, I should go ahead and do like a quick pickle of the red onions, because I think that would be really good on here. And I don't have any Kalamata olives. If I did, I would use those, but since I don't, I'm going to pop in just a couple of these and then add on the tahini sauce. All right, I've got just a few minutes left on the air fryer, so I'm going to enjoy this and then come back and pull out the last batch of falafel. Back really quickly just to say that I did also sprinkle some fresh cilantro on. I feel like it just needed a little more flavor, and maybe it's because I omitted the parsley. Parsley does have a pretty strong flavor, but it's a flavor I don't like. So I had to find some sort of a modification. I do also have a recipe for chickpea fritters that is from the same recipe creator that I have made, and I do like them. I prefer the texture of the falafel for sure, but I think I prefer the flavor of the chickpea fritters, and they are a lot less work because there's no waiting 24 hours for chickpeas to soak, and there is no waiting for an hour for the dough to chill. So I probably will use the chickpea fritters as a go-to from now on, and save the falafel for those rare occasions when I really feel like it, but it is pretty good. So if you are interested in a recipe that is kind of a lot of work, not too bad. Hello, and welcome back for the meal planning segment. In my new meal planning spot, I guess. I swear every Wednesday it's rainy and gloomy outside and there's horrible light, so I'm parked here in front of my front door so you can actually see me. But anyhow, this coming up week is going to be pretty simple for me. As always, I will put up the plan that I am looking at on the screen so you can follow along. But So my son, his last day of school is actually today, and he leaves Friday for his dad's for the summer. So that's kind of the way that our custody arrangement works, because his dad lives about 3.5 hours away from us. So I have him during the school year, his dad gets him in the summer, but then we swap every other weekend. He goes back and forth. So this Friday, he leaves for his dad's for the summer, and then he'll just be home every other weekend. He does like to, the last couple of summers, find like a week where he can just come and be here for a week, because of course all of his friends are here, so this is where he would rather be. But this is his last summer doing that, because next year he's a senior and he will graduate from high school. So anyway, with that being said, I don't have to plan meals for him anymore. My other son, you know, as I've mentioned before, he's 19. He works at Jimmy John's. He brings home Jimmy John's all the time. And he's extremely picky. He does not pretty much want anything that I would ever cook. He just lives on sandwiches, more or less. So I always have sandwich stuff in the fridge for him, but he usually just brings home food from Jimmy John's. But anyway, so that leaves just me for just a couple of months that I have to worry about. So for this, I don't really have a recipe. I'm just throwing it together, but I came up with the idea for fajitas the other day, and it's been sounding good, so that is what I'm gonna do. So pretty quick and easy. It'll just be like onions, bell peppers, mushrooms. I don't like to put tomatoes in mine. I may later in the summer when we start getting fresh tomatoes, but store-bought tomatoes, I just can't with those. So I don't put tomatoes in mine, but I do use salsa, so I'm still getting some. And then just the toppings, cilantro, avocado, the salsa, lettuce, stuff like that. So that's really all there is to it. It's pretty simple, so that's all I'm doing for next week. As always, I will go ahead and link my blog down below, and I will have my meal plan on that blog. So if you want to go check it out, there will be a downloadable PDF of this exact meal plan with the shopping list, if you would like to make it along with me. So you can go there, download that, and we will be back here next week to make this, and then I will have another meal plan for you. So come back if you want to see that done. And before I do finish this blog, or before I finish this vlog, I do need to check the kimchi. I kind of want to wait a little bit because I did it in the evening, so I'd rather wait until after work, so it's had a full 2 days, and then we're going to check it. I am a little bit nervous about it, just because if you don't get it just right, if any air gets in or anything like that, it might spoil rather than ferment. So I'm a little nervous since it's my very first time fermenting, but I think it's going to be okay. I definitely got it sealed very well. As a matter of fact, I even had some liquid like trying to run out of the seal, and so I had to put it on paper towel to catch it. So I really don't think I have to worry about any air in there, but we will be back here to check that, give it a taste test, and I'll let you know how it is. And that will be the end of our vlog, and then I will see you back here for the weekend. Okay. Time for the taste test. Looks good. I mean, there definitely doesn't seem to be any air in it, so that's promising. I am still nervous. I've never fermented anything before, so. First thought, way too much salt. I followed the recipe, but I think it could have done with a little bit less. But otherwise, the flavor is actually spot on. So I may, if and when I make this again, go pick up those Korean chili flakes that I didn't have. Either that or add just a little bit more. I was afraid to get too much because I know the stuff that I get downtown is extremely spicy, and so I was afraid to overdo it. But I think it could have used another scoop of the chili garlic paste or sauce, whatever you want to call it. But I may see if I can find some of those Korean chili flakes and just go ahead and make it with that the next time. But other than the fact that it's a little over salted, it's pretty good. I call it a win. Now I'm going to go ahead and transfer all of them into the refrigerator because they can safely stay in there from here forward. So. And with that said, I'm going to wrap up the vlog here. Clearly, I'm planning on doing absolutely nothing with my evening besides editing this video. So I will see you back here again soon.